Hey, thanks, Nino. That was awesome. I'm really honored to share this stage with y'all. That was really incredible. You should buy their stuff. They have merchandise over there. And I'm really grateful that all y'all came out tonight. I know that apparently it's not cold. And you chose to be inside. So I appreciate y'all. I'm going to read some poems. I have the book for sale. It's $10, which like literally you can't get it that cheap anywhere. Like not even on fucking eBay or anywhere. If it exists, does eBay exist? I don't know. And I have some other merchandise over there, so I'm just gonna read some poems for y'all. Is that cool? Cool. Is the food good? Cool. I'll take that as a yeah. My thighs say thunderous. My thighs say too fat for skinny jeans, say wide, say open. My thighs say cellulite, say bad tattoos, say stretch marks, pock marks, say ingrown hair. My thighs feel upset that you only offered one bite of your Ben & Jerry's Cherry Garcia. My thighs say more, please. More room, more beat, drop. My thighs can dance all night. My thighs want your thighs to work a little bit harder. My thighs are always the elephant in the dressing room. My thighs say, what the fuck is a thigh gap? My thighs hate Urban Outfitters, hate Banana Republic, hate fucking American Apparel. Love the one pair of jeans we wear 4 times a week because they're the only ones that fit us right. My thighs hope your thighs have a great day. My thighs want you to stop calling this body soft fruit. My thighs say feminism, bitch. My thighs say we have always been the tattletale of the androgynous. Cannot pull the feminine out of us. My thighs make a mockery of shorts. Stay spilling over at everything's seam. My thighs say we don't want your praise, man on the street corner. Man in the parking garage, man in Walgreens where we're buying tampons. My thighs say we are every man's wet dream, even when we beg not to be. When we close like locked jaw, when we ask nicely, when we beg him to stop, when we never ask for your eyes or your hands or your mouth, my thighs know bruise. Beckon, they know quake. Crave, my thighs have been shame. Fear still are most days. My thighs know when to tighten, when to stop all the space taking up. My thighs know empty. All we do is doorway for this body's ability to woman. We have always been this. Axis of this balancing act of woman. Do we make you uncomfortable? Is this too much praise, gospel of this body? We don't know small. Our everything is too big, monstrous, sturdy. We stay the stilts that carry this woman body. Armor, pillars for this heart, this everything woman. My thighs say you don't know shit about envelop. Coil through the quiver, pull the love into you like we do. My thighs say leave the lights on. We spent a lifetime hiding. Shake out of this shame, we are the ruthless twins, the too strong to not run toward everything light. My thighs say come into this when we say this is ours. All of this, ours. Thank you. Thanks, y'all. I'm feeling really inspired by what other folks read. And I have some stuff that I feel like can be in conversation with that. So, yeah, that children's book was really awesome. The poems that were read by before me was really awesome. So I've like dog-eared every page in this book. So I guess that means that nothing's dog-eared. If everything is, like, does anything count? I don't know. Thanks, y'all, again, for coming out. I'm a little sick, if you couldn't tell, so I might be panting. I feel like I'm winded up here. Anyway, I'm going to give you okay. So a cicatrix is a word that means both a deep cut in a tree and a deep cut in skin, and that's in this poem. Also, my dad's side of the family are all loggers, and that shows up in this book a couple times, from rural Oregon, and so that's a little bit of context for this poem. This poem is about my brother, Michael. This poem is called Origin Story. It was an accident, says my mother. My father, not paying attention, swung the chainsaw back too far, too fast, and Michael just got in the way. Chain caught his cheek, and that's the end of it. When they arrived home from the woods, my mother says my father walked into the trailer, said, "We got a problem with the boy." That's what Dad called Mike, the boy. Mike, 7 years old, walks in, face canvas of pale pinks and shucked reds, all 3 layers of skin cut clean down to the bone by the machine in our father's hands. Your brother didn't make a sound, Mom says. Never made a peep, not even on the way to the hospital. The surgeon did it for free, Mom tells me years later. She says we were poor as shit and he knew it. He said if your father brought him 2 cords of wood up to his cabin, he'd do it for free. My father agreed, and just like my father, never made good on the deal. Just like your father, Mom tells me now, to leave him hanging after he saved your brother's life. On the playground, Mike would peel back the gauze, show all his friends the chainsaw gash across his cheek, now hardened and marked. The cicatrix our father split himself. 28 years later, and everyone still wants him for his scars. The 5 on his stomach from a celly in San Quentin, a toothbrush chiseled to a shiv, the 6-inch gash on the back of his skull, smashed into the pavement on 16th Street. His left eye pops out of his socket when he coughs. The first time he was jumped in Tracy. All 10 fingers, each broken and healed twice. Each mark has birthed him into a seamless clearing. Each scar, another felled tree, and I think that's what a father is, a blade that never stops cutting. Thanks, y'all. So you should buy the book mostly because I match the book. So if you buy the book, you can take a picture with me. And I look like I came right out of the book, but the book came out of me. Okay. What was I doing? Oh, I was reading poems. Okay. This is also in the book that I wrote. Okay. It's called The Small Breakable Nature of Gods. At what age do we ask children to imagine heaven, and who's there if not their missing fathers? I've spent eons diving into his darkness. Nothing. I touch brown ground and think of the summer he made us sleep in the bed of his truck, lined with stolen carpet squares. I gorge myself on this memory. My father's shoulders in the parking lot of Tom's hotel where he lived and ran an AA meeting for a while. I cannot remember his laugh, though I thought I would by now. His face fades and folds into each ear. I do not know any of his scars, and these things matter to me. I know my mother's body as if I lived there, each freckle and wrinkle and the day they came. I feel the stitches on her shoulder from the Rottweiler up the block. This is the godly nature of mothers. My mother asked me about my favorite childhood memory, reaching for something to redeem us from the long shadow of absence. All I can replay is what was not there. Think of all the things I'd write if I could erase the hum of missing. I do not know what children with fathers dream about, what they long for if not for someone with their same face to tuck them in at night. What do they think of with all that time on their hands? Thanks, y'all. I read this for like one of the first times at the first Button Live show I did, which actually was the very first ever Button Live, which is pretty cool. Woo to first. And now look at us here at the Icehouse together. That was like 3.5 years ago. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. So there's this poet. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him. It's not really a big deal. His name's Neil Hilborn. He's not really, just kidding. So he wrote this really funny poem of pickup lines. And so I wrote my not as funny version. Okay. It's called, Where Did You Get That Pickup Line? You Should Drop It Back Off. Excuse me, sir. Are you the moon? Because I need you 238,000 miles away from me. You make me want to go to Hogwarts so I can make you disappear. Oh my God, you're so funny looking. Are we at the rodeo? Because this conversation is bullshit. You look so strong. Why don't you go take down the patriarchy and heteronormative ideals while I sit over here and watch? Your advances in excessive touching and jokes are also funny. I decided to tell them to my lawyer. You make me think all kinds of naughty things, like where to hide a body. If I had a nickel for every time I heard that line, I would throw them all at you. You want to know how I got these guns? Working out, because I'm terrified of violent masculinity. You remind me of 1919, the way I don't have a say in this exchange. Can I have 78% of the time you are giving me, please? You and my bra have something in common. You're both annoying and make everything less enjoyable. You must be a tree, the way I see you and think, leave. Actually, your last poem also inspired me to read that, so thank you for your wonderful and short last poem. So in this, which the first poem I read kind of explores that too, but in this book I think is like definitely some of the first times that I felt ready to kind of write about assault, so I want to give y'all that content note. The next couple poems deal with sexual assault. So, yeah. This poem's called Everything to Call Him Before Rapist. The neighbor, the boy up the block, grocery bagger at Food Max, the gas station clerk at 7-Eleven, father to a 3-year-old, 6'2", grandfather's caretaker, friend, the hum of the dryer, a few dates and long walks to nowhere, the room in the basement, the laugh that took the tension, the oh, come on, over until it went dark. Bought me lunch each Wednesday, open doors, stiffened shoulders at other men, kept them away like boys who like me do. The split of a pelvis, sandpaper between legs, wishbone snap, ignored friend requests but never deleted. Secret qualifier, the shame after the shame, the boy that is friends with all the cool girls, the face that appears when I close my eyes, the twice dirtied secret, white, toothy smile, months worth of split open Venus razors, flinches at a new kiss, BB bullet lodged into the tin can of me, apple corer, cherry pitter, coin tossed in an empty well. Thanks, y'all. Thanks. This is a poem written after Wallace Stevens. He's a dead white guy. Lots of them. Oh man, listen. I have, last couple shows I've made, anytime I say something white guy, like a white guy walks out. So thank you for not walking out, white guys. Something white guy. Okay. This is after the poet Wallace Stevens. It's called 13 Ways of Looking at a Rapist. It's after the poem 13 Ways of Looking at a Blackbird. Any of y'all know that boring poem? Your mother's boyfriend, but not to you. It's like you're coughing. It's in the middle of dinner and everyone is staring and maybe someone acts like they notice and then they ask if you'll leave because it's too loud and no one can do anything about it. So you go and cough until you can come back and be fucking quiet about it already. We're on the phone, his name and her voice. She's crying and parked in an alley and she says she was 14 and he choked her. All my friends have them. You'd think we collect them on purpose at this point. Right swipe on Tinder and never asked once. Your teenage crush in the White House. Once my ex-boyfriend paid $240 to take me to laugh at his jokes. Me too. A slow simmer, and before I even knew the water was boiling, he was done. You, honestly, truly did love him, and still you know it's true. He was a good date before that. You saw them holding hands, and you knew that she loved him. And once, you did too. Even after he took your name and buried it in the basement, how you hope she never finds it, clawing its way out from underneath them. Thanks, friends. Cool, I'm gonna read another poem. If you buy, also, this is true for all the Button books, Crosby, are the other ones on? The other ones are full price. The other ones you guys have? We'll get back to you on that. Oh, cool. Cool, so Sabrina Benaim's book, Andrew Gibson's book, and my book, all $10. That's like fucking crazy. But if you buy them, every single one of them feels like an expensive sex toy. So I said that to my mother, and she was like, I think it feels like leather. And I was like, okay. So depending on how sex positive you are, it's leather or expensive sex toy. But you should get them because they're really, really, really beautiful. When I got them, and when I got it in the mail, I was like stunned at how pretty they were. Like I knew they were gonna be beautiful, but I didn't know it was gonna be this beautiful. So y'all should go check them out. If you're not gonna buy it, like just go touch it. Like that's fine. Crosby's working the merch table, killing it, doing the thing. Y'all give it up for Crosby. Yes, I know. Organized. Got it together over here. Spencer's filming. Thank you, Spencer. Give it up for Spencer. Spencer's a jack of all trades. Sat with me while I signed 200 books today and then did a little interview and now is running the camera. It's like, Spencer, do you eat? Do you sleep? Do you live? No, you don't. You're a robot. Neat. And then we got Sam Cooke over here, who's the brains behind everything. Also is going to have a baby soon. It's incredible. Give it up for babies. Yeah. Yay, babies. Cool. So this poem I wrote a while ago, and it's the political moment is no longer relevant, but it's for my mom, so she's still relevant. So back in 2015, there was a woman named Kim Davis. There's usually like a when I say that name. And she refused to marry same-sex couples and made a huge deal of it. She went to jail and she it was literally her job and she's like, I'm not gonna do it. So this poem is to Kim Davis, but it's really for my mom. Kim, let me tell you about my mother and her wife. How they found each other after 49 years. How their wedding was open park August and how we all sat sweat-drenched in rejoicing. My mother walked the aisle to Etta James at last, and at the sight of her, my stepmother wept. And we should all want to love like that. You think opinion can fit here. You think you are so mighty you can protest magic. You and your stubborn bigot God shake your fist at love, and you must not know. Love can heal an entire country, make two women whole, pull them from the ashes of their own life. You spend 5 days in jail and cry on camera. And my mother spends 50 years in purgatory and loves still. And you should learn to bow and pray to that glory. Worship that God. Kim, your moment has long burnt out, and my mother and her wife and their 2 dogs love still at last. I have other merchandise items over there too. All of my merch was designed mostly by young people who I got to pay to do it. I'm gonna get really nerdy for a second. So I have totes, and the totes are all recycled material, and the t-shirts are all cotton and made in Baton Rouge, which is where I live, which means they were made by people who make living wages, and they're 100% cotton, which means there's no microplastics in the water. Okay, I'm done being a nerd. Back to poems. Okay, but the shirts go all the way up to 4X. So check them out. And I have one new shirt that is from the last poem in the book, which you can watch on Button's YouTube channel. And everything I'm doing tonight, even if I've got it memorized, that's in the book. So this is my last poem for you guys, and then we're gonna hang out and. I think all the books over there I've already signed, but I'm happy to write a little note in there if you'd like, and check out everyone's merch that performed tonight. And yeah, Nino, thanks for hosting. You're the bomb, and you have really cool pants on. Yeah, you do. You look like you stepped out of a more progressive Urban Outfitters catalog. I love it. Love it. Okay. Actually, I have 2 more things. Don't say good yet. You don't know what I'm going to read yet. At my book release in Baton Rouge, I started by reading the Acknowledgments. And so I'm going to read the Acknowledgments in my book, which is my favorite poem. It's just the Acknowledgments page. And then I'm going to end on a poem. This book of poems was only possible because my dogs, Calla and Lenny, allowed me to sit at my desk for hours while they looked on, wishing I would hurry up and move to a more ideal spot for them to smother me. Thank you to those who saw me when I was a young writer and believed I had a story to tell. Chancellor Skidmore, Donnie Rose, Anna West, Sue Weinstein, Jocelyn Young, Jeff Munsterman, Chelsea Lynn Murray, DeAndre Hill, Julia Roth, Joaquin Zewatenehu, Giselle Robertson, Ava Heyman, Bill Moran, Casey Filson, Beck Cooper, Leslie Rose, the Baton Rouge poetry community, the New Orleans poetry community, and the slams across the country that heard many of the poems that brought me to these. Thank you to those who saw these poems first. Christopher Diaz, Sierra DeMolder, Sasha Banks, Sam Gordon, and Anna Montague. I would not have had faith in myself if you did not show me how. Thank you to those who dedicated hours to comb through this manuscript with me. Human Nguyen, Olivia Gatwood, and Megan Burns, thank you for your steady hands. Gratitude to the institutions that granted me the space I needed. Forward Arts, the Eclectic Truth Community, Slam New Orleans, Button Poetry, Word Bank, and the Heart of It. Thank you, Brian Tatro, for the lifelong love of a first true friend. We live. My siblings, Michael, Laura, Christina, and Sophia, for allowing me the grace to tell our hardest truths. Without you, there would have been no witness and no reason to tell a story at all. Thank you to my nieces and nephews for being a light when we needed to see a way out. Omar, Samari, Kimilian, Gianna, Canton, and Princeton. My Button family, thank you, Sam Cook, for believing in this project when it was only a seed. And thank you, Hanif Abdurraqib, for taking the book on and your unwavering faith in it. Dylan Garrity, Nino Gray, and all of the hands hard at work giving those of us who aren't supposed to be given space all the space we need. I am indebted to Alexis Sibilian, who's the greatest sister friend I could have imagined. You're the first audience for many of my poems, and I cannot repay you for every gentle push you gave me and the relief of recapping each old episode of Law & Order SVU when the real world was just too much. Thank you, Gramir, for being a grandmother, a friend, and a cheerleader I was gifted by Alexis. And thank you to my mother, Vicki Heinrich. Once, you told me that sometimes you forget it ever happened at all. It did. It all did, and you, despite, walked me through the fire. And to my deepest, truest heart, William Bryan, how I'd be lost deep in the hallways of myself without the freedom of your love. Thank you for pushing me gently and with vigor to my wildest dreams. Thanks, y'all. So my partner's here. He told me not to say anything about him. He was like, everyone's gonna look at me, and I was like, I'll just point to someone else and say that that's my husband. So there's my husband over there. Also, I wanted to start my book release in Baton Rouge with that, but I felt like a total loser, and one of my friends was like, fuck it, it's your show. Do whatever the fuck you want. And I was like, okay. So thanks for listening to that. This is my last poem. God, I'm winded from my Spanx, really, truly. To be honest here, it's the Spanx, not the cold. Or both, probably. You'll learn someday. When the time comes, all of this will be... Just kidding. Okay. I gotta take a drink of water. Give me a round of applause. I gotta drive through Montana after this, so if anybody knows anything cool in Montana, let me know. Don't know. Also, if there's like a really good vegan restaurant here that you know of in this city that we're in, tell me to eat there. Already ate at Hard Times Cafe. Okay, I already ate at Crepe and Spoon, and anyway, back to the poems. Okay, thanks y'all for having me. This is my last poem. If you want to hear more poems, if you buy the book, I'll read you a poem from the book. I'll read you one stanza from one poem in the book. If you buy the book. 15 seconds, you can make it an Instagram thing. See how much I can... Okay, anyway, back to it. Okay. This poem is for Sam Gordon and Beck Cooper, Sasha Banks, Casey Filson, and Julia Roth. I can't hear anyone talk about love without thinking plane crash. Each face a choir of heartache, costumes of loss, trumpet voices in the second line marching band out of my funeral home heart. Y'all, what I learned about grief, I learned in a winter in New Orleans. Nights I would drive the city and end up by some massive body of water and sob at the shoreline and stare the beast in its face, and it didn't give a shit how loud I screamed. It roared back, louder. If there is anything that breaking like a wave has taught me, it is that when love leaves, it doesn't always shut the door on its way out. Y'all, last time I left my heart wide open, the hurricane in me got so bad, my best friend had to call me every single morning for 3 months straight just to make sure I was still alive. Because sometimes that is the hardest thing to do, just stay alive in this zombie heart planet, people walking around pretending to exist. It looks so goddamn easy to play along. But listen for the people with the upturned palms whispering, here, take my sweater, it's fucking freezing out there, you compass, you waterfall smile. You umbrella chests, you Grand Canyon elbows. You deserve to make it home. Ignore all of the radio static, lost signal hearts when all you want are directions back to the lighthouse, where your own love lives through this goddamn sea storm. Keep swimming. The lighthouse, it is there, and it is worth it. That kind of love only stays when it has to. And it stays every single time, y'all. I swear to God, my mother folded laundry in the hospital that I was born in so that I wouldn't first see the world as some back road barn in Oregon. I come from a heart made from sturdy hands, a heart made to set sail, ride the waves, keep swimming the storm. It is always thick. The road home is small. It is quiet. It is a warm you have to get used to. It is a ship made from everyone who ever told you they loved you and stayed. When your heart slammed shut so loud you could not say it back, y'all. Sometimes I am so spilling over with feelings. I have to lock myself in my bedroom, turn the lights off, and pull the blankets up over my head so that I don't explode out all of my insides, y'all. I am fragile. I am terrified to say that. I break like a fever, like a bad habit, like a windshield, like a wave, y'all. Sometimes love doesn't stay. But motherfuck, when it does, it is worth every person that ever told you that you are not enough. Every fire extinguisher mouth that tried to put your love's honest flame out, the confused, your birthday candle kiss, your firecracker mouth for some blazing forest, some torched chapel. Let them run out of you like a house up in flames. They are not the first. They will not be the last. Pull the fire alarm. Let it rain. Thank y'all so much. That is all I have for you. Y'all give it up for Nino as they make their way back up to the stage.